Hi, very good morning to you. It's Jim from Avstar. Now, there's a couple of components in this video I want you to stay around and listen to, because if you're into your, your high tech and you want to know what's currently going on with other things other than the pole shift, stick around because you're going to like what you hear in this video, I guarantee you, if you're a techie. So, first of all, I just want to begin with yesterday. We left it a while because we're rethinking what we do here on YouTube and on our website to make things a bit better. But the big thing is, yesterday, just to give you an example, we left it around 3 weeks, 21 days before we did the updates, and we didn't really report on anything else prior to that. So the point is, on average, if we're lucky, we raise 10 British pounds sterling a day. And that's not good enough, guys. We've got a massive capability here, and we've demonstrated it time and time again, over and over. But with the budget that we're working with, it's just impossible. And, it's frustrating, because I want to do these experiments on these things. I want to share some of them with you, and we'll be talking about one of those later on, because we've had somebody donate something which we're going to be putting to work. We'll talk about that in a bit. But the point is, we need to raise more money than what we are, because that's just ridiculous with what we're trying to achieve. I am very resourceful with funding, and I've achieved a lot with small amounts of money. But simply, if we get 3,000 people view a video yesterday and we raise £10, what is the point? We might as well slam the door shut on the observatory and not bother anymore, because it's just a complete waste of time if that is going to continue. And I understand times are hard, but you know what? Understand this. We are the only YouTube channel on YouTube with designated equipment bespoke built to track and monitor the progression of the magnetic North Pole, as well as we're monitoring alpha, gamma and beta radiation, oxygen atmospheric levels, CO2 atmospheric levels, and we have a couple now, not so many as what we have had in the past because of funding's drying up. We've had magnetometers in countries like China, Australia, the United States. We still have one in Canada, as well as a muon detector. We did have a muon detector in Australia, as well as a magnetometer. We've got magnetometers here, we've got muon detectors here. You imagine that tech that we've got. And we do use state-of-the-art technology, SIPON photomultipliers. We use, as I am still aware, the largest SIPON photomultiplier out there on the market. So cutting-edge technology, and it comes at a cost, to us, because we only buy a few, at around about $120 or thereabouts. I haven't built a muon detector for quite a while now, so I don't know. I anticipate that could be close now to $150 just for that one chip, that one component. So that gives you an idea. And we can't achieve any of this as well as my time, guys. That's why I probably won't be doing as many videos as I have done in the past, because it's not worth it to come along, spend your time doing some research on something, and then share it with people freely. I can't do it, guys. You can't go to work for your boss for nothing, and I can't put the time and effort that I'd really love to doing this for you guys if we're only raising £10. So, just bear that in mind. I'm not going to talk about that anymore, right? There'll be a link at the end of the video. If you want to support us, you can. Okay, why is the US giving Israel the powerful THAAD anti-missile system? Just before we get into it, these systems cost around £1 billion a battery, yeah? And the United States has just give Israel one of these. Now, first of all, I think we should ask the question is there a good reason to give Israel one of these systems? Using taxpayers' money, taxpayers' revenue, to just freely give it and deliver it for free. And why would they do that? Okay, so what is the THAAD system? It has a range of about 1,900 miles. Its purpose is to intercept ballistic and ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, at a long distance away. And what else have I got on that? Okay, how many is there in existence? There's only 8 of them. So the US has 7. They've got 1 on order, and out of the 7 that they've got, they just give 1 to Israel. And if you've got low quantities of something that the United States really needs and costs a lot of money that the taxpayers have paid for, should they be giving one of these systems away? So let's look at something else then that might be relevant here. I was just listening to Canadian Prepper. Some of you might listen to him. So what did I want to talk about? So we talked about the cost, £1 billion each. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Let me see if I can find it very quickly for you. Okay, let's not. That is the FAD system. That's the FAD system. That's a photo of it. My point was, I did have the article about whether Israel is part of NATO or not, and it's not. It's just considered, an important member of NATO. They're not actually part of NATO. So there's no NATO reason why we should be giving them the system, or the US should be giving them the system free. And the other thing is, what is I think is more important than anything else is it's taxpayers' money. And what gives any government the right to just freely give away taxpayers' money, just like that? And we all are living in a time of the cost of living crisis. And our governments, including, it's not just the United States, but even our government in the UK, are just giving this money away. And at the same time, they're taking the heating allowance off the pensioners. You can't get your head around this, and you couldn't make it up. What they're doing, and this is really important, guys, and you might think, I'm not going to listen to this. Well, carry on, because one day you're going to ponder what all this was about, and you're not going to have the information to make a decision on what is actually going on. And what is going on is governments around the world at this moment are using taxpayers' money as profit raised. So they're using GDP as profit raised, and they can do what they want with that profit as willy-nilly as they so choose, without any more, the burden of having to use taxpayers' money in a meaningful way and not waste it. But I think you would agree with me, if you're giving money away, in terms of £1 billion system, and paying for the cost of delivery, and fighting other countries' wars, for countries like Israel that are not a part of NATO, the Ukraine's not part of NATO, so why is our countries giving away money like this? How is it protecting us? Because right now, we are kicking hornet's nests all around the world. The NATO countries are Europe, Canada, America, the UK. And we are being threatened by these countries that we're kicking, in the balls. And they're saying, we're going to nuke you if you carry on. If we get to a certain level, we are going to nuke you. So why is it so important for these countries around the world to be, involved in such actions? Setting this aside, one point is, and it should anger you guys, because it angers me, is that taxpayers' money is being treated like profits, and it's not a profit. A government does not sell anything, it does not manufacture anything, and therefore, there should be a need to utilise those funds that are raised, first of all for the country that raised them, and secondly, it should be utilised in a manner which is beneficial for those people of that country, and not wasted as it is now. I don't need to talk about, just moving on to another subject, I don't need to talk about what's going on in the mainstream media with countries like Israel, again, and what they're doing in that region. You hear the other day that 4 IDF soldiers were killed. an announcement on Sky News of the names, and done in a very somber manner. At the same time, not a mention for the thousands that have been killed in Lebanon, and over 40,000 killed in Gaza. Not one sober message or sombering message, in solidarity for them. Meaning that Palestinians have a lesser value than a human being. And this is why mainstream media are losing the grip on the attention of the general public around the world. And they know it. You've got people like, what's her name? Kay on Sky News. That comes out. Remember when we had that little heat wave last year? And she said, Britain is burning. And when you look at what she was talking about, the story, a couple of houses had caught fire. But that was how they had, exaggerated the story to get our attention. And what was the purpose of this behind it? It was climate change is happening, and this is why it's happening. Look at it. Britain is burning. But when you look at the facts of the story that Kay Burley was talking about, it was just a couple of houses. An isolated incident. And I bet you if you compared the isolated incidents over years going back to 20 decades, you would find that, it was an average number and no more than an average. Yet, this is the hysteria that the mainstream organisations, especially the news medias and the governments, are pumping out to steal our money. It's got to stop this, guys. The taxpayer's purse is not an endless pit for pigs at the trough to just help themselves and feed themselves rich and wax themselves, wealthy, whilst the rest of us are now having to do 2 jobs in order to, just survive, just to keep a roof over our head. Look at what they've done to the entertainment and travel industry, the things that we enjoy, or enjoyed maybe 3 or 4 years ago when there was a little bit more coins in our pockets. And now we can't do that. And at the same time as all of us having to, readjust our spending just to survive every month, pay the winter costs of energy, which have just gone up 10% here in the UK again, and put up with the nonsense of our governments, saying that we need these green policies, we need to build more wind turbine generators and more solar fields, at a time when our agricultural land is going offline that we use to feed ourselves with. They want to charge us more money for the production of energy with the use of these systems. It's ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. And it shouldn't be happening. And unless we do something about it, it's going to continue to get worse than this. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like my back financially is pushed up against the wall. There is no more. Where else do I go now? Can't go any further back. Where else can I cut? You know what, guys? I'm not asking for a sympathy, pat on my shoulder. But it's become normal for me now, to cut out certain types of meat out of my budget and utilise, cheap staples that we saw, in third world countries using, like rice. So, I would probably eat rice or a pasta dish 3 or 4 times a week now. And the quality of cuts of meat I'll buy are the cheapest ones you can get. In forms, chicken is probably one of the cheapest, and I'll buy, just the thighs as opposed to the old chicken, or the thighs and legs. I won't buy the expensive cuts of meat no more. So, that's what I'm having to do, and I know that this is something that you're having to do at your end, just to keep, a roof over your head. And I'm single at the moment, so, it's not cheap living on your own here in the UK. It's frigging expensive. But, that's another story. Now, what has somebody donated to us, or will be coming later on this week? It's a project that we was discussing, and it's only theoretical, but I've been the more I look into it, the more I think it's feasible. Now, we've been given a laptop which we're going to take apart. We're going to take the CPU off it and we're going to put a quantum gate in there. Now, the laptop's not new and it doesn't make any difference, because if the quantum gate is successful and the theory is proven to be right and it works, it won't make no difference whether this computer is 6 years old and it has, probably an i5 core processor in it, because once it's converted over with the quantum gate in it, it will run faster than the fastest computer than there is out there on the market, by tens of thousands faster. That's what quantum computers do. They don't use bits, they use qubits, and you can store much more information on a qubit. And that's just one of the benefits of quantum computers. The rate at speed at which the quantum computer works using the quantum gate is just mind-blowing, and you can understand what industry is very interested in it. Now, I've used this technology which we're going to apply. So we're putting two different systems together in order to achieve the quantum gate. And if it works, you know what this means? You won't need a container-sized quantum computer like the D-Wave. And I think they're trying to, Elon Musk is trying, well, I think he recommended they shut the program down, the quantum program down, because they didn't like what was coming back out of it. Because I'll just give you, for instance, when you're using bits on computers, like, what you buy off the shelf, it uses bits, and there's only a limited amount you can store on it, and the way they work is by zeros and ones. The quantum computer uses qubits, so simultaneously using the ones and zeros at the same time to come up with an answer, or resolve, a physical equation, or, decode the human DNA. I'll just give you another example of how fast quantum computers are. Let's say weather modelling, and now you know why I'm interested in this, or for a couple of reasons. I'll give you the reasons, and I think you'll like this. First of all, weather modelling systems ain't fast enough, and they can take, 1,000 years to run a very complex program, where a quantum computer can do it in seconds, if that. So there's the benefit of the quantum computer in the climate system model that we've got. So it runs more complex programs faster, giving us a more accurate and up-to-date condition of what's happening around the world with the weather. And I think we need that system already. There is a military aspect, which I'm not going to talk about that at the moment, but it can be used to take out, I'm not even going to say it, because, I would like to try and secure at a later date bigger funding for this, and then maybe look at, and I know you're going to hate me for this, and I shouldn't support the military complex, but, what else are we going to do in order to obtain money at a later date for other ideas that we've got? And I've got some well out the box ideas for quantum computing, but we can use quantum computers, for decoding the human DNA, coming up with more purpose targeted pharmaceuticals to prevent things like cancer, target viruses, and other harmful things. We can use quantum computing for that. We can change. This is like, we are getting to a point now where technology is increasing at such a rate now that as soon as something comes out, another thing is replacing it. Now, I just want to end on this one note. Can you imagine when we connect, and we are going to attempt this, if we are successful, if we connect these two systems together, quantum computing and artificial intelligence, AI's intelligence system that it's got at the moment. Now, they've put all the fail-safe systems in. I guarantee you quantum physics will whip them out straight away, giving, full autonomy to the quantum computer. And there's another thing as well, just a theory of mine, and I think this is probably touching on why Elon Musk is not happy about quantum computing and what it can achieve, because I am just pondering the idea. I've got absolutely no proof whether it's true or not. I'm pondering whether the quantum world exists outside of time. So there is no future and there is no past. It can operate in all the dimensions of that. And just to give you an idea, you might think, impossible, Gene, you're absolutely crackers. Well, it can't be no more crazy than the double slit experiment that was conducted, can it? Because that's the quantum world under observation. It is obviously intelligent enough to change its behaviour. And you know what? There it is, slammed down on the table as hard as any other fact, as supporting evidence that the quantum world is so unusual. And incorporating AI and quantum computers in one part, in a package together, holds endless possibilities. And it could even, it could be, and I know this is what the first thing people are going to say, don't do it, Gene, don't progress in this field of technology, because as soon as AI becomes aware, it'll kill us all. Like Cybertron in Terminator. No, I don't think it will do that myself. But you know what? I'll just put this out there. I am going to do it. I am going to have a go at building this quantum computer over the next few months. I'm going to have to 3D print a lot of parts. We've got to lift off the CPU off the main logic board, and we've got a lot of work to do incorporating the quantum gate. But I'm going to do it. And you're going to say, don't. You're putting us at risk. But let me tell you something. Am I putting you at any more risk than what they did in the 50s with the Manhattan Project, when they built the first atomic bomb? And there's your answer. If it is good for the goose, then surely it must be good for the gander. And no, BEA systems would be just in listening to what I've got to say. And that's why I'm not going to repeat it, because you know what? I'm not going to do it. But I know BEA systems would love to hear about this proposal. Well, there you go. That's today's update. We're going to do an Earth Health at a glance. If you're interested in what's going on with your world, well, we look at earthquakes that have happened in the last 24 hours, volcanic activity. We'll have a look at the jet stream behaviour and images of the current jet stream. We'll have a look at the CO2. We'll put the latest poll position on there as well for you, as well as a lot of other things. That's what we do at Mavstar Observatory. If you want to get involved and support us, there is a link down there. You know what, guys? Please support what we do. No one else on YouTube is talking about these things in the manner that we do. But not only do we talk about the talk, we walk the walk, we build it. And I don't care if it's a failure. You know what? If I can count all the lists of the failures of stuff that I've built compared to the successes that I've built, you would know that it's well worth it, because it's a demonstration of you invest time and you don't give up, you can succeed. That's the winning attitude of a champion, that is, guys. That's what we're asking you to recognise here. We can achieve these things. So, link down there in the description. Only one other thing for me to say to you is try, amongst all these things going on in the world, to have an amazing day. And if you are religious, pray for these people in worse situations like Gaza, the Ukraine, and elsewhere in the world, human beings in general, to be safe, or safer than what they are, and pray for these maniacs to be sent straight to hell where they belong. And I'm talking about these politicians like Sir Keir Starmer, Joe Biden, etc. On that note, as always, bye for now.